Well, if you guys want to come down and shoot a third Spider-Verse film, then let me know.
You can't say things like that, because then I'll start thinking about it.
You're having fun. Still stuck in your mind.
Okay, cool. Hi guys, how you all doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So, this is episode 1 of Fan Films Are Cool. Today we're looking at Spider-Gwen Kickflip by The Lonely Spider. We have a couple of the cast and crew here today, just from left to right of what you guys can see. I'll just go through everybody. So, up first we have Emma Beach as Gwen Stacy. We have Eric Elliott, who is the co-director / plays Peter Parker. And then Peter Hervel, who is the writer of course, Spider-Gwen Kickflip. Now, long-time film forum viewers might know, I have a bit of a history with Eric. We've known each other for quite a while, and then sort of through connection just with Eric and also Sean from Buckeye, I've had a few conversations with Peter as well. This is my first time meeting Emma, so it's obviously lovely to meet you. I'm glad you all could be here today, and I think it's going to be a really fun interview. So we're probably going to get into some spoiler territory, so, you know, We'll try and skirt around what we can. Obviously, Kickflip has already come out, so I recommend you all watch that first before these guys start talking about it. And yeah, we're going to get straight into it. So I'm going to come straight to you first, Emma. You've obviously appeared in some of Eric's films before as Gwen Stacy, but this time you're obviously a different version of Gwen Stacy. And not only are you the main star of the show this time, but you get to don the suit as well. Just tell me a little bit about that. What was it like, sort of changing up how you were doing things and actually becoming a Spider-Man this time around?
So I was so excited when Eric and Peter told me that I would be getting my own starring role, just because I've always wanted to wear the suit. I do cosplay regularly. I go to lots of cosplay conventions, and I make cosplays of my own. So to be able to wear a Spider-Man costume was like so exciting to me, because I am such a big fan of the series as it is. So that was super exciting to kind of change up my role and play a different version of Gwen that I usually play.
Cool. You mentioned cosplay. What are the types of stuff do you cosplay?
I usually cosplay anime characters. I'm a big anime fan, and as you can tell by my kind of collection of manga over here, I'm also a big video game player. So I do lots of Zelda cosplay, lots of anime cosplay, and also some Sonic cosplay as well.
Cool. That's awesome. Eric, obviously, we've just talked about slightly how Emma has been in other films. Obviously, back to basics. She's played Gwen Stacy before, and obviously, this film is part of your big Marvel Heroes and Outcasts like universe / multiverse. How does tell us a little bit about how Kickflip plays into this bigger universe?
That's a really interesting question. One that I got to be careful about because of spoiler territory. I can spoil what happens in Kickflip. I can't really spoil how it how it continues. But Kickflip I consider to be part of the Lonely Spider Heroes and Outcasts universe, even though technically it exists in a parallel world different from ours. And that was a decision I made early on, because the events of Kickflip and that world, the stuff with the parking lot king, obviously that doesn't affect my Spider-Man, my Peter Parker, because it's a completely separate New York. But as you can see by the post-credit scene, the symbiote Spider-Man and 2099 are headed to Earth 514, which is the Heroes and Outcasts universe, and because they're searching for where Superior Spider-Man's going. And the reason why Kickflip is so important to the Heroes and Outcasts universe, despite being in a parallel Earth, is 2099 and Symbiote agree they need a guide. They need somebody who knows the 514 universe incredibly well. Spider-Person who knows that universe very well. And Gwen's universe is an exact parallel to the Heroes and Outcasts universe. Well, Spider-Man's universe is an exact parallel to the Heroes and Outcasts universe. So how it kind of bleeds in is Gwen in Spider-Man: The Spectacular Spider-Verse, our upcoming film, kind of is she's such an important and integral character to that story, and she is the guide through my Spider-Man's universe. And the events of her character development and that post-credit scene directly bleed into my Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man: The Spectacular Spider-Verse. They're attached at the hip. Like Spider-Verse is going to open like mere like hours before the kickflip post-credit scene ended. So I just figured where the films were so much that they were so connected and like that post-credit scene is so integral to knowing Gwen's story in Spider-Verse. I just figured it was a good idea to loop it in the same category of films that is the Heroes and Outcasts universe.
Awesome, nice. I suppose what we're talking about is seen as this is a big multiversal thing. Because I know you can't spoil anything, but I will ask a question about the Spectacular Spider-Verse later. But just obviously, you've been playing Spider-Man in your films for several years at this point. What was it like this time around playing a slightly different version of Peter? The sort of the nerdier, less cool, I suppose, version. What was that like?
I loved it. I had more fun than I should. For one, I didn't miss the spandex. I always complain about wearing the suit, and people are like, you don't actually hate it though," and I'm like, "Well, I don't like it." And yeah, that face shell is not fun.
That is true. I can say that face shell is not fun.
Yeah, the face shell I have for the Back to Basics suit is so uncomfortable. We had to put it on a stunt guy for Jacob for a scene in Spider-Verse, and within 30 seconds he was like, "This face shell sucks."
Just for history, for anyone that watches the Buckeye stuff, Jacob is Mencken, and he's often Sean's stunt double for the fight scenes, like the Kane versus Spider-Man stunt in Dead No More. Jacob hated your face shell, and he hated your suit.
Yeah, he did not want to spend much time in there. But anyways, to actually answer your question, I didn't miss the costume whatsoever. It was nice being able to be Peter Parker without the costume. And it was nice, taking a back seat in the story, if that made sense. Because this is Gwen's movie. She's the main character. It's her story. And where Peter Parker's appearance in Spider-Gwen is very scarce. He's only in 2 scenes. I could really focus on my performance within those 2 scenes and still making it feel like a Peter Parker, but different enough from the one that I play in Power of Responsibility and Back to Basics. So it was a really nice change of pace, and it sucks that he's dead because I would absolutely do it again. And Emma makes an absolutely fantastic scene partner, so it was fun figuring that new character out with Emma and having fun with the voice. That was a lot of fun too.
We make good scene partners when we're not constantly laughing at each other.
That's true. When we actually focus, we can get some stuff done sometimes.
Yeah.
Cool, nice one. So moving on to you, Peter. So this could be different for everybody else, but obviously I know you. I recognize you the most from the stuff you do over at Buckeye Studios. But you've created your own fan films. You've most recently, I believe it was Superior Spider-Man, My Own Worst Enemy.
Yeah,
I should have written that down in reality, but the fact that I remember that
you did it off
was
the
good.
top.
But
Yeah,
yes,
I've done 2 Superior Spider-Man films.
This collaboration, how did it come about? Because obviously I know you guys have been working on Spider-Verse together. Was this a film that you sort of already had written, or did it sort of come?
No, this and the Superior Spider-Man films are really cool because I got to go down to up to Canada and work on Spectacular Spider-Verse with Eric and Emma and a bunch of the Lonely Spider people who are all incredible. And as that film came on, I kind of created this idea for Log Date 1, the first Superior Spider-Man film. And then a couple months later, Eric was like, "Hey, Emma's I've always wanted to have, and Emma's always wanted to be kind of like a lead in this kind of these Spider-Man things because she really loves it and she's great as Gwen. And I'm trying to write a script, but I'm like," he goes, "Oh, I want something different. I want because Eric makes these incredible Spider-Man films, right? And they have a very distinct voice to him. And he goes, and I want the Spider-Gwen one to be from someone else's voice." So he asked me to do that, and I got to write that with just the intention to make it something totally different than what the mainline Lonely Spider stuff is. So that's how that came to be. Because I had to come up with that as it happened. I wasn't sitting on that and then was asked and then I had to create it, which was really fun.
Cool. And I suppose as well, you kind of, obviously you guys have got to know each other a lot more over the years anyway. Did you find that it was sort of a situation, maybe this is a question for both you and Eric, did you write and then there was notes of sort of like, oh, actually, I don't think this Gwen would do this or this or this, or was it just sort of like here's the script, okay, this is great, let's go?
To an extent, I was given a little bit more freedom in that way, where I'm not writing for like a sequel to Back to Basics or Power and Responsibility, where there are such defined like characters and like plot. Because Kickflip is its own thing, it's in a separate universe. It's able to really be more unique and have a unique voice. And obviously, there were notes of like, "Hey, this like we can't do this. Could we kind of make this shorter? Can we add a little bit more here? Can we like add a little scene in the beginning?" But in the sense of when it came to character, I was given a really incredible amount of free reign, because there's no spoilers, but there's aspects of Spider-Verse that have to be considered, because this is obviously a prequel. So there are things I can't step on, or I can't do, or I should do to like line up timeline wise. But personality and like when it comes to like the way the characters think and talk, I was given free reign, which I really loved.
Yeah, and like adding on to that, both the Superior Spider-Man films and Spider-Gwen are similar. Where like both are prequels to Spider-Verse, and they take place before Spider-Verse. So like it was interesting because Spider-Verse was written first, so we knew where these characters would like end up, by the time Spider-Verse happened. So when I came to Peter about writing Spider-Gwen, because I had writer's block for like 2 straight months and I couldn't crack it. I literally just gave him a checklist of stuff that I was like, okay, for it to make sense in Spider-Verse, we can't have this happen. And then other than that, go nuts. And I think other than like the character continuities for Spider-Verse for Spider-Man Kickflip, the only other rule I gave you was I want Matt Murdock Kingpin to be the villain, because I love Colin, and where Daredevil is such a prominent and Matt Murdock is such a prominent character in like our main Spider-Man movies, having the parallel universe have like a reverse Daredevil who's the Kingpin is just a really cool idea. So those were like the only rules that I really gave to you, and we didn't really butt heads about much. Occasionally I'd ask you to change stuff, then we'd do a little, but it'd always be small stuff, and then it was a really enjoyable process, I gotta say.
Cool. I was going to ask this question a little bit later on, but as soon as you mentioned it, obviously, so Colin did come back as Matt Murdock, but obviously this time around the Kingpin version. What was it like bringing Colin back in? Obviously, he's not here with us on this call today, but I believe he left for a little bit, didn't he? Or was he moved away, and then like what was it like having him back, playing the kind of same character but different? Was there a lot of things you had to sort of like give notes as a director, or did he just sort of get it and then?
Yeah, it was cool because Colin went away for school, and then he was back for a little bit. Now he's going away again now, so we're losing our buddy again. But for the time that he was back, where Spider-Gwen is a shorter film, and he's only really in 2 scenes, we were like, okay, we can do this. And I remember one of the concerns on the day was, leading up to it was, I was like, I wonder how Colin will make this performance different from his typical Matt Murdock. And then when we get there, like Emma, you can vouch for this because we were both there, like you're really noticing it. He just started chewing up the scenery and really committing to this like absolutely like snarky shithead villain, and it was so nice. I love working with Colin. Colin's one of my best friends, and it was so cool. Like seeing not only working with one of my best friends, but seeing him like really fully embrace this role and like live it up. Like when he's like, I'm the Kingpin of New York. It's like that he made that Matt Murdock feel so different from the mainline universe Matt Murdock, and it's the same guy, and like they look the exact same, and he made them feel like 2 very distinct characters, and that's something that I will endlessly commend Colin for.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Well, obviously, one of the scenes that Colin was in was the fight scene. Now, Emma, you said that you couldn't wait to sort of put on a suit and to actually be Spider-Gwen. How was it working on like fight scenes? What goes into a Lonely Spider fight scene, and how did you find that personally?
I love doing the fight scenes personally. I was so excited to be able to do one because obviously normal Gwen not doing much fighting when she's not in her Spider-Gwen form. So it was really cool to kind of switch that up and start fighting. Noah helped a lot with the choreography, which was really cool to have him there, just because there was a lot of things that I like wouldn't know how to do like blocking wise, so that was really cool to have that kind of different perspective on. And of course doing the fighting with Colin is great as well. And yeah, a lot of trial and error, but eventually I got it, and it was super fun. I felt like so powerful. It was really cool.
Cool, and I suppose he's branching over to Eric as well. Sort of what's the process for like choreographing a fight and doing it your way? Because obviously I've done VFX for you over the years. I've done many things with like webs and stuff like that, but primarily your fights are hand-to-hand combat. What was it like? Not only, I suppose, choreographing that, did you have somebody do it for you? And then also, you obviously weren't in it this time, which I know you usually have to be if you don't have a stunt guy.
Yeah, which was that's such a nice break. I'm gonna be so real with you. In terms of fight scenes, we're no Buckeye Studios. Peter, you and Sean and Max and Jacob and your whole crew like put extensive work into pre-planning your fight scenes and choreographing them. You have a really talented stunt team. Me and Emma and Noah's process is me and Noah meet up. We do a loose plan prior to. We maybe feel out some stuff, and then on the day we apply that stuff and then go, okay, what else can we come up with? Which I know is not professional whatsoever. However, it works and it's fun. And so like it's a bit of half and half. Like some of the moves are planned in advance, and then others, like we'll have like certain fight moves that we want to do, and then like we come up with like stuff on the day that we can do in between those fight moves to get the characters from point A to point B, and get them in between each move. But yeah, we're getting. I feel like we're getting better at choreography with every movie with every film that we do. In not to plug future projects here, but there's a really massive fight scene in Spider-Verse that is one of, if not the best one we've ever done. And literally today, as of like 2 hours ago, I just shot a fight scene between Deadpool and Wolverine, and it came out absolutely incredible. So it's one of those things that I feel like we're constantly improving with. And everyone, Emma, you're absolutely incredible, and everyone we work with who can show up on the day and throw themselves around, they really help bring that to life.
To piggyback off fight scenes and everything, say when I wrote it, I wanted to write in a way where there's a lot of like, I wrote in like punches and kicks and specific things like the cane hit and like Emma kicking in Matt Murdock's legs. I say the Buckeye guys were so lucky to have Max and Jacob, but so much of fight scenes, it's not just the choreo, it's the blocking of not only your actors but your camera to like, because Eric's Deadpool Wolverine thing is really cool because at the Buckeye channel I got to direct a really cool Punisher versus Daredevil fight that we did on a big roof, and we got to work with George, who is this incredible actor who does the Punisher. And so much of that fight, the choreo is incredible, and I'm blessed to be able to work with Max and George. But so much of it is knowing where to place the camera. And in Spider-Gwen, there's shots that I really like when you like in the shed when Colin hits the camera, it really sells the impact. So I think that's an aspect of fight choreo that. Because in Superior, I had to do fight choreography, and I hate it because I'm bad at it. But it looks good because A, I'm working with someone that's also into it, but B, I have a really talented person behind the camera who knows that when you shoot fight choreo, you shoot it like you shoot a conversation, right? You go left and you go right. So you go behind the back so you can sell a punch, and you can go behind the other person's back to like intercut it. You want to do that in the way that like someone like me who looks really stupid when I throw a punch, you use the blocking to make it believe like a wimp like me can really sell that stuff. So it's like
Peter.
I say so that's always really fun with doing the fight choreo. And I say what I was really impressed with watching Spider-Gwen, because on paper a fight is about that long. whereas in a movie it's much longer, is I was really impressed by the physicality of like Emma and Colin, and just like I wasn't there, but man, in the parking garage when he's like swinging the cane at you, it looks like it was gonna hit you at certain points. It's really cool.
Oh, it did at one point.
Oh no, I got
No, the cane didn't hit me, but Colin did hit me at one point. But it's all good.
we have quite a lot of experience with it. No spoilers, but I shot a thing for a person's project where I had to do a big fight, and I got nailed. I got nailed several times by my scene partner, who will go unnamed. It's Sean. Um, no, so that fight was incredible, and Sean legitimately is an incredible. Like, I don't think he would say it; he wouldn't give himself the credit, but he's an incredible physical actor. I say not only in the way that like he portrays Spider-Man, but his actual physical fighting for Spider-Man is always really cool. So it's like, I love the way Gwen moves in Kickflip when she's fighting. I think it's such a really, it feels different than the way you move as Spider-Man, Eric. I really enjoy it. I like in the shed fight, there's much more of an aggression to it versus something we don't really normally see from a spider person.
And like, well, first of all, thank you very much. And something that we wanted to establish with Gwen in both Kickflip and Spider-Verse, and Peter and Emma, you guys have done exceptionally with this, with Gwen's, I guess her physicality and her fight choreography is, in Kickflip, she's only been Spider-Gwen for like a few months tops. Like, she's very recent to this, and that's something where I confirmed earlier that Spider-Verse almost follows right on the tails of Spider-Gwen. It's something we touch on in Spider-Verse. Is out of all the Spider people, she is probably the most like the probably the newest to this Spider persona. So a big part of Gwen's fighting style is like figuring things out on the fly and going for what works. Like, there's a great moment that Peter wrote where Gwen beats Kingpin by literally like analyzing him and looking at his weakness, because she realizes if she comes in fist swinging, she's not gonna win because Kingpin is he's stronger. So Gwen beats him by outsmarting him, and when you compare that to the first fight where Emma, you're throwing yourself at him and you're coming in and swinging. You have a great physicality. Like, you even throw the first punch in that fight. I just think Peter, the way he wrote it, and Emma, the way she performed it, a lot of thought went into Gwen's choreography, how she carries herself, and how her fighting style is, which, quite frankly, there's a lack of one because she's so new, she's trying to figure that out. And she'll only get better.
Cool. And I mean, you said earlier, you just kind of get together, you're having fun with your friends, and I think the biggest thing with fan films is you can see fan films that have production and money behind them, but you can always tell when it's just a group of friends having a good time. And I feel like, you can always see that in you guys' films. Moving on to sort of questions that anybody can answer. I'd encourage, of course, all of you to give it 2 cents. It sort of still is a bit of a writing question, so maybe, Peter, you could add the most. But just in general, when you guys were looking at your characters for this film, was there anything, in terms of inspiration, was there anything that either from movies or specific comic books that you brought from? Or was it just sort of, tell me a bit about that.
I can't talk about the directing and the stylistic sense of it, but Gwen is partially based off myself, which feels weird to say, but also Haley Steinfeld from The Edge of 17, which, if you haven't watched, is an incredible movie.
Great movie.
She's very much that, in this kind of like person that's very sad and kind of, he's clearly been affected by loss and is kind of like acting out in the world, and kind of there's a very like resilient rage to her in a way that I think is really solid. Also, she's very much based off a mixture of the Spider-Verse movies Gwen and Gwen from the comics. Kingpin being Matt Murdock is a direct comic reference. That's really fun. And then, I think also one of the things I love is the way that Eric has written Gwen Stacy in the mainline comic, in the mainline fan films. I think that's such a well-developed character. And I think the way Emma portrays her there is so full of life and nuance and like energy. And what I wanted to do is kind of take that and spin it so that this version feels so different than that. And that was really fun to do.
I was lucky
And
you
then
mentioned Haley Steinfeld as well, because she obviously plays Gwen
She
as
was
well in the
Gwen.
film, so it's a nice little, yeah.
And then there's a bunch of random stuff in the script that is, as everyone I know affectionately refers to, just a bunch of Peterisms. Just a bunch of stuff that if you know me, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's in there. So
There's
those
one
are-
line where Gwen says she's more like the Bam Margera of skating, and I'm like, this is the most. And I've been Peter's friend for years, and that man has like a monthly hyperfixation. And they cycle, they go back and forth. Like some like Doctor Who comes and goes, Avatar
Forever.
comes and goes. But during Kickflip, you were really passionate about the Jackass movies.
I love
I
those movies.
couldn't say his last name. There were so many takes of me being like Bam Margera.
I forgot about that. You're
Say
right. Yeah, that took us forever to get. I forgot about that. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it took me like a million takes. It was like Bam Margera.
And then you were like,
Yeah.
"How important is this?" And I was like, "I don't know. Peter wrote it. We gotta get Bam Margera in there."
And
Apparently.
none of you can name another skateboarder.
Well, I
Uh,
suppose as well. I wonder. Obviously, the music in this film is quite prominent. You used Paramore for the trailer. There's some "Meet Me at the Altar" in the film. Like, was that also just sort of that a Spider-Gwen type thing, or was that a sort of no? I like this band right now.
The music's half and half. I say half of the music choices were me, and then half were Eric's. And Eric's are incredible. The needle drops and the Lonely Spider things are always incredible. If you watch back the basics, there's a crazy good Billy Idol needle drop there, which I love. But the two that I was really heavy on was the opening one, which is Meet Me at the Altar, which is really fun for the little trying to do a kickflip montage, and then Abandoned Pools, which I was really, that was my one thing where I was like, you gotta get that in, you gotta put that in the movie, because I love Start Over. If anyone watching this is a fan of Clone High, it's the season 1 finale music of Clone High. It fucking rocks. But the music, it was fun to write in because I wanted to give Gwen that kind of early mid 2000s, like, for lack of a better term, Avril Lavigne vibe of that kind of
yeah.
music and feel.
Love
And
her.
I love Avril Lavigne. She's coming to Cleveland in September, and I'm like, man, do I put aside my general hatred of live music to go see Avril Lavigne? I'm thinking
We were
about
born
it.
in the same place. We were both born in Ontario. One of my cousins went to high school with her.
What?
Wow.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah.
But the music was really fun to write in, and then Eric added his own kind of like different associated needle drops, which I think are really cool.
the Paramore. No, you go.
I was just gonna say it's so cool, like, because I just like Eric sent me like a list of the songs, and I just kept listening to them over, and I was like, this is so cool, because like my personal music taste is very much in line with that. I have kind of different music tastes, like lots of different stuff, but like my kind of core music taste is kind of like a more alternative style like that. So all of the songs were like are like my main listens to. Like my most like frequently listened songs are from the Spider-Gwen movie.
That's awesome.
Out of curiosity,
The,
just a very slight tangent. Top 5 favorite artists from all of you guys.
Let Eric's the music. I let him go first. I'm gonna pull up
Okay.
my Spotify while
Just
we
in
wait.
general, or am I supposed to name like Spider-Gwen artists? Because
No, just in
I'll-
general. Because I'm curious now, because I didn't know if you guys had obviously like kind of picked songs to fit Spider-Gwen, but obviously you've all just kind of said it lines up with what you guys like anyway. So I'm just interested.
me and Peter agreed on a specific theme of music, if that made sense. And part of the reason I wanted Peter brought on is because I wanted a more punky early 2000s feel, and Peter does love that music more than I do.
Yeah.
I'm being incredibly candid. I'm not a punk man whatsoever, and that's part of the reason I brought Peter on as a writer. I was like, hey man, I want this aesthetic for the movie, but I'm not a punk guy. You are. I wanted to see what he could bring for that, and so a lot of the music choices were him, except for Paramore in the trailer because even before a single shot of the movie was filmed, I wanted that for the trailer music.
Yeah.
I'm so happy we did it. But anyway, to answer your question, so my top 5 favorite artists.
Yeah, just quick fire.
Okay, in no order, I'm gonna go Childish Gambino, Phoebe Bridgers. I fuck with some Phoebe. She's good. Oh, I didn't. Am I allowed to swear?
You're good. You're good.
Awesome. I like Hosier a lot. Um.
You're gonna
You
say
like,
something and then
Kendrick
listen
Lamar.
back and then be so mad that you
like
didn't say
Radiohead.
somebody else.
And Radiohead. How can I forget Radiohead?
Yeah,
Okay,
you love
yeah.
Radiohead.
That'll be my top 5 in no order.
Yeah, you don't
I'm
shut
going-
the fuck up about Radiohead.
Yeah, you do not shut up about
How
Radiohead.
can I forget? I love Radiohead. Yeah, that'll be my top 5 in no order. I'm going Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, Phoebe Bridgers, Hosier, Radiohead, and Kendrick Lamar. Those I listen to them a lot. Yeah, no, how can I forget Radiohead? I love Radiohead. They're the best band of all time.
What do you think, Emma? What's yours top 5?
No particular order, just because I can't order them. Boy Genius, I love them, and they're in the movie. Foster the People has been like one of my favorite bands for so long. Panic at the Disco, bangers, nothing but bangers. Marina and the Diamonds, big one. And Hatsune Miku.
Nice.
She was my top Spotify artist. Was Hatsune Miku.
Extra points as well because I believe Marina and the Diamonds. She's Welsh, so you get an extra point from me there.
Oh, nice.
I guess it's me. I go Blink-182, a band I know Eric hates. Avril
Eric.
Lavigne, who I love. She's my queen. I adore her. Unironically, I really like Weezer.
Same.
What's another band I like? I actually really do love Marine and the Diamonds. Blue is a song that I adore. I think it's incredible. And then what's like a 5th band? I don't listen to like a bunch of artists, so I'll just go because Rebecca Sugar, because that's legitimately someone I listen to a lot of her music, and they're incredible.
Cool, awesome. I feel like it was worth asking because I remember one of the first things I ever collaborated with Sean on was he did a Olivia Rodrigo, Jaden Hossler cover,
It's his
and I
most
did the
viewed
thing for him.
video.
I know, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, that was like one of my first ins with the FFC, just randomly doing a
Not
music
a
thing.
fan film thing at all.
Yeah.
Nate, what about you, buddy? What are your top 5?
Oh, this ain't about me. This is about you guys. But no,
Yeah,
I
but we're
love.
asking.
We all went
What's
around.
yours?
It's your turn.
I'll do also no particular order then. Blink-182 is a must. Neck Deep, All Time Low. I'll say. I'll say Hot Milk, and then Lauren Hibbard. Top 5.
Nice.
Just a sidebar, Nate. What's your favorite Blink song?
The Rock Show has like a deep a deep one for me. That was like the first one that got me into it. But anything off of the 2003 Untitled.
I really love Shut Up. Shut Up on the same album as The Rock Show. Incredible. I love that, and I love Roller Coaster. Yeah. Sorry. Back to
Peter,
Roger's
I can't
After
believe-
this, talk to Morgan, who plays our Spider-Man. He's like the biggest Blink fan ever.
Yeah, I will have to hit him up actually.
Peter, I can't believe you exposed me as a Blink disliker, not even in front of Nate, but in front of the entire Film Club channel. That was one of those things that I could know Nate for the entirety of my life and never tell him, and you just exposed it.
Fun fact: the opening song, which is "Meet Me at the Altar," which is fun fact. The song used was in a really good Taco Bell commercial. There was like 3 to 4. That's where I heard it. There was like 3 to 4 Blink songs that were possibility for that in a playlist I sent Eric, and they got nixed.
Heartbreaking. The Rock Show was in our.
They
one of
were
our
too
films.
much for the scene. They were too much. I stand by that. My feelings about the band aside, they didn't fit the scene or the edit. I will stand on that.
All right. Well, Eric's hatred of incredible music aside, we'll get back to the Spider-Man questions. So again, just another open to anybody. Kickflip obviously was a shorter production than usual to the other stuff we've seen from you guys. But what was your favorite part about this production? It could have been in post, it could have been in pre. Yeah, what did you guys enjoy most?
For me, it was just being able to talk with Peter the whole time I was filming and just like getting like some like amazing feedback from him after he would watch every clip I'm in. Peter is like genuinely one of the nicest people I've ever met, and I'm so grateful to be able to do a script that he wrote. So having just like amazing feedback, not only from Peter but also from Eric and from Noah, Colin, Daniel, and just like after doing a scene and having just like positive feedback is just like some of like something I like really really appreciate, and it makes me feel like I am like very important to the Lonely Spider and to this universe. So having that kind of feedback from not only my scene partners but like my friends, like these are all my best friends, and it's like the friendship that we've created from doing these films is something I am eternally grateful for. So having just positive feedback and, you know, sorry, I cleared my throat. Having positive feedback and being able to do justice to things that are so important to people is something that I love to do so much.
That was a really, really good answer.
I know, I gotta follow that up. Come on. Damn it.
Boys got no chance.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the production of Kickflip was when it ended, because I just couldn't stand to be around any of these people anymore. I was like, oh, gee, it was awful. I'm joking.
Blink 182 blasting
How
every
do I do
day. Oh, cute. That's the
I'm
thumbnail.
joking.
That's the thumbnail.
I have to take Emma's answer, but to a lesser degree, because she worded it better than I could. But Peter is absolutely awesome to work with, because every time like I'd do something new with Kickflip, I'd send it to Peter. He'd be like, "Dude, that's awesome! That's so cool! That's the coolest thing!" And it was like Emma said, that feeling was always really cool. And obviously, working with my best friends was also always a really good time. But I don't want to steal Emma's answer because it's a great one.
That's
So I'm
okay.
gonna name one other thing that was my favorite part. I liked co-directing with Noah, and I think the last, like, not counting the post-credit scene, the last like 2 minutes of Spider-Gwen before the credits, when she's at the grave giving that speech, and when she decides to start skateboarding again, that is some of like the most like. I'm really proud of that moment as a filmmaker because, for one, I think visually, I think we had Dan on camera the day for the graveyard. It looks really beautiful. It looks really
beautiful
pretty.
shot.
Peter, the speech you wrote for Gwen and her character hits so hard. It's Emma. Your performance during that entire graveyard scene is absolutely incredible. Like those last 2 minutes, like I'm proud of the whole movie, but those last 2 minutes, like so many good things happened. I really like the music, Emma's performance, and just like what that means for Gwen's character and the story and that big culminating moment. And also, the second last shot of the movie is one of my favorite shots I've ever gotten. It's Emma tilting her head up, and the sun is behind her head,
Yeah.
and it's so colorful. And that was all in camera, and like the last 2 minutes of that movie, I am legitimately endlessly proud of because I just felt like everything was firing on all cylinders for the last two minutes. Like the emotion, Peter's writing, Emma's performance, the camera work, like everything. I'm so proud of that last 2 minutes, and like I've had to rewatch Spider-Gwen a million times because I edited it as well. And I'd say out of all the moments of that movie I rewatched, it was the last 2 minutes the most because I just felt like it was a moment where I just felt like we did everything right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Oh man, I think I have a selfish answer and I have an honest answer. The selfish answer is I got to film the post credits. I got to direct and shoot the post credits scene, which was really fun to do. Because that meant that something I wrote, I got to technically direct part of it, which was really cool, and I got to direct our friend Max just chucking shit off a table, which was really fun. But the real answer is I think my favorite part, as they mentioned, was seeing something come together because when you write something and you send it off to someone, you put a lot of yourself into what you write. And with Spider-Gwen, a lot of it is, as I mentioned, based on my own personal feelings towards grief and myself and kind of like aspects of my own personality. And to send that off to someone who not only lives across the nation, like upwards, and be like, okay, I'm now trusting these people to make something, who obviously I do trust because they've made incredible stuff, but to be like, okay, they could totally just dismantle this whole script without telling me and just do whatever. But to see people who are so talented take a thing that I was honored to be able to make and treat it with such care and genuineness, and to put so much of their own selves into it was so special. And to like watch, like Eric would send me like, hey, here we did this. Like the first scene they shot, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but it was the ending scene with the son and Emma skateboarding, and that legitimately seeing that for the first time for me, it made me cry because it was exactly the energy that I think I felt when writing it, and I was like, oh man, they're so talented, all of them. And my favorite scene is not the ending, though I do think the ending is incredible. My favorite scene, and I think I've said this, is in the classroom where Emma, I think, delivers, in my personal opinion, the best acting in any fan film I've seen, genuinely.
Oh my god, thank you so
I mean
much.
that. I mean that 100% is the moment where she kind of blows up at Eddie Brock and talks about being sad and tired of feeling and how she wishes everyone would stop telling her how to think. That's something when I wrote it was very personal. I think the way it was delivered upon, it blew me away, genuinely. And Spider-Gwen, as a script, is not a perfect script. If I could go back and change it, I would have made it like maybe 5 minutes longer and add a little bit more interconnective tissue. But I think like watching it be performed, I think Emma delivers such a real performance. I think that alone, as well as like the directing it takes to get there, and what Eric and Noah did as these combined people, they brought such a realness to it that I'm just amazed by the finished project. Everyone's talents, included, just blew me away. And last thing on a sidebar, there is it's in the trailer for the bit, and there is a moment that Colin does where he's standing as Matt Murdock and he knows Gwen's behind him and he just goes, and it kills me. It's so good. It's my favorite little bit of like acting Colin does in that movie. He just gives this amazing, just like shit-eating grin, and it sums up that character so perfectly. I think everyone fired on all cylinders. That's what I think, at least.
Thank you so much, Peter. That is so nice. Thank you so
It's
much.
the truth.
Thank you.
I'll say you all
that
had
monologue
really
you have
lovely
in the
answers.
classroom, I'm floored by that.
Yeah. And it was really cool to like do a scene with like it was really cool to do a scene with Dan like that too, because I think Dan's performance was also like really great. Which a little fun fact, Daniel is my in real life boyfriend. So
Oh, really?
it was cool to be.
And so is he
Yeah.
Eddie Brock?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
So it was cool to be able to do a scene with him as well, just because we haven't been able to do scenes before together. I don't think we've had like a scene where it was like just me and him, so it was really cool to do one with like my in real life boyfriend as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for everyone watching at home, of course, a massive credit to everybody who's not here on this call, because obviously a lot more people actually worked on the film. So I've got two questions left. One of them is a question which I feel like you should be able to answer. This next one, if you want to back away from it, you totally can. Obviously, we've got what I'd like to call a cinematic spectacle coming up, which is Spider-Man and the Spectacular Spider-Verse. Obviously, all of these films have been building up to it. We've seen some stuff. Obviously, we've seen the post-credit scene of this film. Is there absolutely anything that you can say about the film? You avoid spoilers at all costs, by all means. It doesn't specifically have to be a new scoop. It could be something you've said elsewhere before. But is there anything you can tell us about this film and sort of how, I guess, just excited you are to get it out into the world?
I'm very
Eric's
excited
sweating.
for everyone to see it. And you guys can answer this as well. But for one, it's the biggest project I've ever taken on. Like, it is a massive, massive, massive film. Like, it's one of those films that I'm like, and maybe this isn't a good thing, but every day that passes, I'm like, I hope we can make it. We will. But it's just so big and so ambitious. So I'm so excited for everyone to see it. But anything that I haven't said, I don't know. I don't know if I should say anything. I will say, okay, I'll tell you, I'll say something, and it's not like it's not a scoop or anything. It's just something that me and Peter and Sean and Emma and all of us have worked very hard to do. And it's that when you finish this film, when you finish Spider-Man: The Spectacular Spider-Verse, if you watched every installment in our shared Spider-Verse, you will get that feeling of this has been a journey, and all these characters get such great culminations for their characters in this film, and like it's one of those things where we're not going to force you to watch all the movies, but if you watched all the films, it will be incredibly fulfilling.
But you should
Love
watch
that.
them all. They're all
But
great.
you should. Emma or Peter, do you have anything to say? And I'm gonna keep a gun off screen watching
Boy,
you for spoilers.
I'm gonna keep I'm very excited. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, but I will say, Spider-Man is in the movie. So
But which
Film
one?
Form Studios specific scoop.
Spider-Man movie. So spoiler. Like
I say I don't have any information I can give, but what I can say is it was a pleasure going up to Canada to film it and getting to meet everyone. Boy, can I talk about how I was tied to a chair, or is that spoil anything?
I've seen a photo of you
Context.
tied to a chair, so I think that's
Yeah, that's
been
in a
publicized.
BTS video. I can mention I was tied to a
Yeah,
chair.
you were tied to a chair
I
for
was-
a prolonged period of time.
I was duct taped to a chair for a bit, and that was really fun. And I got force fed Coca-Cola, which is pretty
Yeah.
nice.
that was pretty good.
Force fed, as if you weren't all over that.
But no. See, Nate, I'll give you a fun because I don't know what they're like in over where you are, but the Coca-Cola sizes in Canada are significantly smaller than they are in the US. There's thinner bottles because they're worse. So in order to get like a proper amount of American Coca-Cola, I need at least like 3 Canadian Coca-Colas. So during the scene where I'm tied to the chair, just to the left of me off screen are just like 3 bottles of Coca-Cola just like calling out to me. So if you ever wonder in that scene why I seem so like passionate and like full of energy, it's because I know that when I finish this scene I get to have a delicious, cool, refreshing Coca-Cola afterwards. So keep that in mind when you watch Spectacular Spider-Verse, is that Otto's real purpose throughout that film is to claim his delicious Coca-Cola.
Me and Peter have that in common. He's regular Coke and I'm Diet Coke addicted.
I love Coca-Cola. I love it
Me
so
too.
much.
Me too.
Just as like a fun little tidbit, so I've been to the US once. I went to Las Vegas, and whilst there,
I'm so sorry.
it was a situation of like, this is insane. Like, why is everything so much bigger? And just recently, I had a Canadian friend come visit, and the entire time I was like, "Do you have this? Do you have this? What's this like?" And borderline, she was like, "It's all the same." So I think the UK and Canada are pretty similar with like portion size and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but
Yeah.
it is funny. It makes me laugh how insane the US is with just like.
Can I ask a question? And this is
Yeah.
such the sidebar. Do you guys like, maybe not anymore, but like I know back when original series 1 came out, do you guys have like in stores like actual Doctor Who merch and stuff? Because I've seen like pictures during when the Eccleston run came out, like there was like Toys R Us where they had like Doctor Who toys in the aisles, and I'm like, is it easier to find stuff over there?
I'd say I've definitely seen Doctor Who stuff in stores. I mean, I think when I was younger, because we had a massive thing in Wales's capital city called the Doctor Who Experience, because that's where Doctor Who is filmed, where I'm from.
Yeah.
So there was like this massive thing where you could pretty much get it anywhere. Although I'd have to do my research on where to find Doctor
I
Who
know
stuff, and then
They film a lot in Cardiff as well, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Because they're filming right now. They're filming season 2 with Shutigawa. And I'm like, man, if only I was there.
Well, if you guys want to come down and shoot a third Spider-Verse film, then let me know. No,
Maybe.
but
Peter knows this about me, and that you can't say things like that because then I'll start thinking about it. And I told myself that Spider-Man: The Spectacular Spider-Verse will be the last one. Will be the last Spider-Man movie I do, and I've been sticking to that. But Peter and maybe Emma knows this about me.
Eric has the
Plant those seeds
backbone
in
of
my
a
brain.
Claire.
They are hard to get out. So that sounds awesome, but be careful.
Would love to go to the UK.
Oh,
Mouth
me
shut.
too. I want to go to London so bad.
London is beautiful in the right places. So if you guys ever get the chance to do
It
so,
says Cleveland.
yeah. Honestly, if you guys ever get the chance to come to the UK, obviously, you know, the UK is a lot bigger than people think. It's not just a case of everybody's like, everybody knows each other. But I mean, I'd absolutely take a trip to London to see you guys. I mean, sort of final question then, just coming off the back of all of this. Spectacular Spider-Verse, it's going to be great. After that film is done, what can we expect to see from you guys? Is there anything planned? Is there anything we could look forward to? Obviously, if there's more spoiler-based stuff,
Like
then...
now or like in the future when this movie releases? Because that's
I
a
suppose,
different question.
yeah, I suppose both. Aside from
You're asking us
Spider-Man,
to plug stuff.
aside from Spider-Man,
Well, there's Return to the Spider-Verse, which is Sean's Spider-Verse movie. And we'll see certain characters return in that, like Spider-Gwen and Superior. But in terms... What?
You said there's Return to Spider-Verse, so characters will return, such as, and then my brain just went, the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, we'll see Gwen and Otto return, and obviously Sean's Spider-Man. My Spider-Man, I don't think so. But I know I can speak for myself that I'm never going to stop filmmaking. It's just my Spider-Man story ends with Spectacular Spider-Verse, so I don't really want to, you know, I don't really think I'd continue with Spider-Man stories after that. But I'm not going to stop making films, and I've been trying to do more original films on my channel, and I have been doing it. And it's been a lot of fun, so it'll probably be a lot more of that stuff, which means my viewership will go down tenfold, but that's perfectly fine.
You're doing like Deadpool, Wolverine. You have a couple superhero things coming out as well, which is cool. Possible
Hulk.
Wolverine 3.
Peter?
Just saying, man. You do the yellow and brown suit. It'd be pretty cool. I have currently in a couple months we'll be dropping a film I directed, which is Punisher versus Daredevil, which was an incredible sequel to both Punisher Blood Debt and also Devil Inside. We get to see these two heavy hitters of the Buckeye universe meet and clash and just like have a really fun time. Eventually, Superior 3, which will be the final Superior Spider-Man solo film, will be coming out and being written and directed, and that's really exciting. There's a lot of new stuff in there that leads directly into Spider-Verse as well, and where Otto's character is. I wrote a Captain America script for Eric, which was something I really liked. I released a week ago. I released a new short film on my thing. I do a bunch of weird little things. I did like a surrealist detective story called Supermarket, which was fun.
It was really cool.
And then I'm currently writing another short film called Death to the Artist, which is a hitman versus a screenwriter, which is heavily based off the television show Fargo, because I love the show Fargo, which is also on a sidebar where in Spider-Gwen, the nickname for Matt Murdock being the parking lot king directly comes from season 3 of Fargo, because that's what they call Emmett Stussy, played by Ewan McGregor.
Nice.
But I stuff, and I say I have such a fun time working with Buckeye. I'm obviously going to be in Return to Spider-Verse, which is like no spoilers, but is one of my just things I'm really excited for. Just a really good script, and Sean has like just really stepped like above and beyond for that. And I think what he does with only not only his character but returning and new characters is exceptional. And I think, you know, you'll see me in Spectacular Spider-Verse, which is an incredible film, as well as Eric's talked about, just the scale of it and the emotion and the way it's this incredible, has this adoration for not only Eric's Spider-Man, but like the concept of Spider-Man and all those characters is something that I think everyone is going to be blown away by. It's so special and it's so real.
Yeah, so I'm completely down to be a part of the Lonely Spider for as long as Eric will let me. He's one of my best friends, and these are all my best friends. So I'm happy to play a role in anything they come up with in the future. As for me, I don't have my own film channel or anything like that, so my kind of artistic expressions usually go into cosplay and different makeup and stuff like that. So you can see a lot more from me in that kind of field as well.
Awesome, nice. Well, guys, that sounds absolutely amazing. Is there anything you'd like to add? Do you want to plug any Instagram handles? Now's the time.
Subscribe to the Lonely Spider. Follow us on Instagram at @thelonelyspider_official. Check out Spider-Gwen Kickflip. It's been out for 2 weeks. We're really proud of it, and it features all these wonderful people. And yeah, have a good day.
Follow Party Boy Studios on Instagram and YouTube. You should definitely follow me on YouTube. I would love some actual subscribers. That'd be pretty cool. But no, you should watch Spider-Gwen Kickflip because, you know, yeah, you should watch him. Me have a stroke. Cut that out, Nate. You should watch Spider-Gwen Kickflip because it's genuinely incredible, and the way so many people put their emotions into it deserves to be appreciated. And also, like, you know, it's cool. And there's some sick skateboard action in it, which is something I love. Not as much of someone falling off a skateboard as I do in my own videos, but much more tricks.
Subscribe to the Lonely Spider. Follow the Lonely Spider on Instagram. Watch Spider-Gwen Kickflip, starring me. And you can follow me on Instagram at Emma Beach with 2 H's.
Awesome, nice. Well, guys, thank you so much for talking with me today. It's been an absolute honour. You guys are the first episode of this entire thing that I'm doing, so I don't think I could have picked a better group of people. Check out Spider-Gwen Kickflip. It will be the first link in the description. Go obviously follow Emma, Eric, Peter. I'll leave everything down below. You can go check it out. Check out everybody else behind this film as well. Of course, at the end of the film, there's credits. You can work it out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys, honestly, for this.
Thank you. This was awesome, and I'm honored
Thank
that
you.
you
This is
chose our
incredible.
project to be first.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, Spider-Man Quick Flip, link in the description, and I hope everybody has an incredible day.